Amazing Ward Roberts.
Yes, the amazing Ward Roberts. Yes, yes. Yes! No, there should be more people, right? So, my name is Ward Roberts. If you've never been to a North Texas Troubadour show, what we do is we spend about 5 or 10 minutes talking about something special from North Texas history. And so that's why I'm here today. So again, my name is Ward Roberts. So what I want to tell you is, this is my real hair. And these are the glasses that I wear pretty much every day.
Wow.
Okay? Yeah, it's true.
Look at that hairline.
So, I know what you're asking. You're probably thinking, well, where do you get your style from, right? So I can tell you that one of my idols is Rivers Cuomo, the lead singer of the band Weezer. So I'm going to sing a little Weezer for you real quick, just a verse. What's with these homies dissing my girl? Why do they got a front? Guys that made him so violent. Ooh, and I know I'm yours. Ooh, and you know you're mine. Ooh, that's for all time. Ooh, you are just like Buddy Holly. Uh-oh, uh-oh, and you're Mary Tyler Moore. I don't care what they say about us anyway. I don't care right now. I don't care about that. So what we find out is that Rivers Cuomo was just the 90s version of this guy, Buddy Holly, right? In case you don't know, Buddy Holly was an influential singer and songwriter in the mid to late 50s. He was one of the artists that really helped shape rock and roll. Influentially, on a music scale, he really had the influence of like an Elvis or a Bill Haley in the Comets, but because he was kind of nerdy looking, he was not very threatening to families in the 50s, and so that's really how he got his kind of foothold in America. And he was a Texan. He was born and raised in Lubbock, Texas. Because of that, he kind of has a strange connection to Wichita Falls, and that's what I want to tell you. Okay?
Wichita Falls?
Yep. It's true. Here's a snippet of some of his songs. All my love, all my kisses, you don't know what you've been missing. Oh boy, don't go with me, oh boy. I want the world to see that you were meant for me. All my life I've been waiting, tonight there'll be no hesitating, oh boy. When you're with me, oh boy. I want the world to see that you were meant for me. Well, that'll be the day when you say goodbye. Yeah, that'll be the day when you make me cry. Well, you say you're gonna leave, but you know it's a lie, 'cause that'll be the day that I love you. Peggy Sue, you're my love so rare and true. Oh, Peggy, my Peggy Sue. Well, I love you down and I want you, Peggy Sue. Peggy Sue, Peggy Sue, pretty, pretty, pretty Peggy Sue. Peggy, my Peggy Sue. Well, I love you down and I want you, Peggy Sue. This is the real life Peggy Sue. Strangely, she was not romantically involved with Buddy Holly, but rather his drummer, Jerry Allison, from the band The Crickets. And as the story goes, Peggy Sue originally had a different name. It was supposed to be Cindy Lou, after Buddy Holly's niece. But the drummer convinced him to change it to Peggy Sue so he could impress this lady right here.
Later, Jerry Allison, the drummer, married Peggy Sue. She was in the news recently, however, because on October 2nd, just about a month ago, the original Peggy Sue passed away. Now, in my family, there aren't any Peggy Sues, but we have a lot of other Sues. My aunt is Carol Sue. My mother-in-law is Sherry Sue. My daughter is Charlie Sue. You might meet her in a minute. And when I was in the 8th grade, for about 5 minutes, I had a crush on a girl named Bobby Sue. But I kind of lost interest when she asked me to do her homework for her, to turn off for me. So since we're talking about songwriting and stuff, I want to share a song from 8th grade that I wrote for Bobby Sue. To share the blame, I want to remind everybody that I had some help in writing this song from a friend of mine named Manuel Lopez, okay? Bobby Sue, how can I tell you the way I feel for you and the way I love you? Then there's Janet, and of course, there's Chrissy too. They let me do things that and so forth and so on. Every verse was a different girl's name or two. It was the Mambo number 5 of 1986. Here's a verse updated for 2018. Bobby Sue, I should apologize to you. I wrote this song to you 30 years before me too. Getting back to the Buddy Holly story, he's definitely famous for his string of hit songs that came out in the late 50s. I mean, really inventing rock and roll. But he did this in a relatively short time span. His career only really lasted about 4 years. Because in 1959, he died in a plane crash outside of Clear Lake, Iowa, and he was only 22 years old. At this site, there's a stainless steel monument that bears his name with the guitar, and the others that died there, it was Ritchie Valens and the Big Bopper, right? Across the road, there's even a big pair of Buddy Holly glasses that you can stand behind, but they're really big. Every day it's getting closer, closer, faster than a roller coaster. Love like yours will surely come my way. Hey, hey, hey. Holly song. Okay. Now, I have something that I want to show you at this time. It's an heirloom that's been in my family for about 50 years. I happen to have one of Buddy's guitars. It's right here, covered up. Let me show it to you. It's a...
Are you for real right now?
It is a 1950s Sears Silvertone guitar, owned by Buddy. Now, when I tell you that it was Buddy's guitar, I'm actually talking about my grandfather. This was Buddy Roberts' guitar. Let me tell you a little bit about him.
That's where you get your hair from.
Maybe so. And the glasses. According to my dad, this is his father, Buddy Roberts. He was a local music pioneer. He was a proponent of music for fun and family. He was well known, but never famous. Now, Buddy Roberts died before I was born, so I never knew him. But I am lucky enough to have a recording that he made of my grandfather singing and playing his guitar with some of his friends. So several years before he died, they recorded 6 songs, and I own the original record album. Do you know what a record album is? It's the kind you put a needle to it and it makes music. Yeah. I own the original record. That was great. And I just want to play for you real quick a verse from one of those songs. It's called, oh there he is. It's called Harvest Time.
Original tune of his?
I do not know if that is true. I don't think so, but it could be. I don't know. When it's harvest time, my sweet Angeline, we will wander through the golden grain. like a meadow lark. Just before it's dark, we will harmonize our love refrain, and then we'll harvest all our dreams together. We will reap the heap of happiness divine. Just a step from town, we will settle down when it's harvest time, sweet Angeline. Now, Buddy Holly did have a guitar with his name on it. This is a picture of it.
Dang.
Except it was not mailbox letters like this. I don't know if you can tell, that's actually a leather case around the guitar, and the name and the decorations are kind of tooled into that. This is in a museum collection that's owned by the Grammy Foundation. So I do not have that here. Now, Buddy Holly was my father's idol. This is my father on the right with his dad on the left. According to my dad, Buddy Holly was very close and believable, even to nerdy teenagers. My father was about to turn 15 when he heard of Buddy Holly's death. So I started thinking, how does a teenager in a small North Texas town deal with the death of one of their idols, right? Or how does anybody deal with that, really? And I also thought about that because only 10 years about after this photograph was taken, that teenager, now 26, was dealing with the death of his own father because Buddy, my grandfather, the owner of this guitar, died of colon cancer in 1970 when my dad was only 26, which is about the age that my son is right now. So let's get back to the Buddy Holly story. What I learned is that in the 50s, Buddy Holly actually recorded several songs right here in Wichita Falls, Texas. It was Nessman Studios. This is Louis Nessman here. And he ran a studio just kind of in the central part of town. In 1954 and 55, Buddy Holly and his friend Bob Montgomery recorded a demo under the name Buddy and Bob. It's actually kind of well documented and verified in all the literature. You can even find out what the names of the songs were. And I'm going to read them to you because it's kind of funny. See if you see a pattern. Flower of my heart, door to my heart, soft place in my heart, I gambled my heart. There's kind of a recurring theme there. All the songs were actually written by his friend Bob Montgomery, and they were kind of a little more along the lines of country rather than rock. But it was in that same year, 1955, with a different band, the Crickets, that Buddy Holly, he opened up for Elvis 3 times. He opened up for Bill Haley and the Comets. And that's kind of when he was discovered because soon after he was given a recording contract with Decca Records that made him famous. But it's kind of believed that the Nessman studio recordings that happened right here in Wichita Falls served as the demo that helped him kind of land that deal. That year also marked a transition in Buddy Holly's career from country to rock and roll. And so maybe Wichita Falls had something to do with that. Just another little bits of trivia. The band The Crickets, oh, this is the guy who married Peggy Sue right here. The band The Crickets was the inspiration for the name of another famous rock band called the Beatles. Right? They're both insects. And the Beatles were real big Buddy Holly fans. In fact, I don't know if you know this, but the Beatles catalog of music, the distribution rights are co-owned by the Michael Jackson estate and Sony. Because they bought them out from the Beatles. Paul McCartney.
The first song they recorded was a Beatles song, right? Or was a Buddy Holly song?
Yeah, that will be the day.
I did not know that.
The very first song they recorded was a
Buddy Holly
It's
song.
like
That'll be the day.
mom's bathroom showers. It's like
Wow.
a home recording.
That is hardcore. Well, here's what else I found out. Paul McCartney is the one who owns the publishing rights to all the Buddy Holly music. That's true. Not his own, but to Buddy Holly. Okay, so he recorded in Wichita Falls in 1954 and 55 at Nessman Studios. You can drive by there. It's in Wichita Falls. But now it's somebody's house. It's on York Street, which is kind of a long street. But if you go to the corner of York and Santa Fe, You can find it, so let me back it up. Yeah, so the cedar shingle side of the house is where the studio was. Let's back it up a little bit more. See them over there? That's the Sprague brothers. Okay, and so, yeah, there's that side of the house. This is what it looks like currently on Google Maps. So you can go drive by there. Don't knock on the door. I don't know who lives there.
It's a block or two behind the old Sam Houston Elementary.
A block or two behind Sam Houston Elementary. Right off 10th Street. Crazy, huh? So Buddy Holly, I mean, walked in and out that door like several times. Okay, so here's what that got me thinking. I started thinking about my dad and grandfather, who would have been, you know, I don't know, maybe 10 or 11 at the time, my dad and his father. It would be possible that they maybe ran into Buddy Holly somewhere. Right? I mean, maybe they were in a diner and there was Buddy Holly getting a burger. Or because my grandfather was a musician, you know, maybe they, I don't know, were at the same music store. There couldn't have been that many. Maybe they were buying guitar strings at the same time. Or something. I mean, they wouldn't have known him then because he wasn't as famous yet. He was just getting started. Okay, so then I started thinking about my grandfather's record album, the one that he had pressed with those songs on it. At the time in the 50s, there couldn't have been many recording studios in town. Probably only the one is what I would guess. So what if my grandfather had also recorded his music at Nessman Studios? And I have the actual record. Right? So I got really excited, and I was thinking, what if the label has Nessman Studios on it? I mean, what if it was even recorded in the same couple of years that Buddy Holly was there? So I ran to my bedroom. That's where I keep, you know, the Buddy guitar and the record. It's in a box with a sort of a cover on it. And I opened it up, and in fact, that's where I saw the magic word. I don't know if you can read it. It's Presto.
Yeah, Presto record manufacturers.
Presto Record Manufacturers. So what is Presto Record Manufacturers? That was the name of a company that made machines that could...
I actually had that machine on the right.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I own that machine. That's
Wow.
that's a 6M.
That's incredible. As I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, they could even do like live recordings straight to disc.
What's that?
They can even do live recordings straight to a...
You could, but it was just a one-off cut.
Right.
Yeah, you can cut straight to this.
Wow. That's crazy. So I was thinking, what if, I mean, it was Presto. What if Nessman Studios used a Presto machine? Right? So I needed to do some more fact
You're
finding.
leading us to something good.
No, unfortunately I'm not. I'm sorry.
I tell you what, take one.
But I wanted you to get my excitement, okay? I found out later from my dad that his father had actually done the recording at the home of Tom and Bernice Watson, who live in Valley View, Texas, which is about 2 hours the opposite direction, even opposite of Lubbock. So yeah, it was way out west. So I didn't mean to lead you astray. But I wondered, you know, why is it that we seek these connections to our idols from the past? I mean, would it make any difference if this guitar really belonged to Buddy Holly? I mean, it'd probably be worth a lot more. But because it belonged to Buddy Roberts, I mean, he's my flesh and blood, right? My namesake. In fact, I'm named after him. We're both Charles Edward. I'm a Charles Edward II, not a junior, because it's not my dad's name, but it's my grandfather's name. And would it matter if we knew the real Peggy Sue? Because I've got a Charlie Sue. My own flesh and blood, my own namesake. Bad news all against her. I couldn't take a mistake. Can't remember if I cried. I read about his blue pride, but something touched me deep inside the day that music died. That, of course, is the famous song by Don McLean, released in 1971, about the tragic death of Buddy Holly and the people in his playing. And that song was released about 10 years after Buddy Holly's death. It was recorded in the same year that my grandfather died and released in 1971, which is the year that I was born. So that's why I think Don McLean kind of got it wrong. There really can't be a day that the music died, because the music is the only thing that lives on. Right? The men have died, Buddy and Buddy. But so long as we have their songs and guitars, the music doesn't die. And so what I came here to tell you is that I am the descendant of a man named Buddy, who played guitar and sang songs, and he died too soon. And it left a hole in my dad's heart, but we can fill it with music. When it's harvest time, my sweet Angeline, we will wander through the golden green, like the meadowlark just before it's dark. We will harmonize our love refrain. I look just like Buddy Holly, or maybe Albus Dumbledore. I don't care what they say about us anyway. I don't care about that. So bye, Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee back when Betty was dry. Good old boys drinking whiskey all night, singing this will be the day that I die. This will be the day that I die. Well, that'll be the day when you say goodbye. Yeah, that'll be the day when you make me cry. Well, you say you're gonna leave, but you know it's a lie, 'cause that'll be the day that I die. Everybody, so bye.